You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.fm. Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is the second hour, the hour about guns. But this is not just an hour about training, of course, with, I guess, always some ideas, or even just finding the products for the best prices. You know, when I try to bring you, let's say, guns or new type of prices or ammunition, anything, it is really an act of love, because these are not even my sponsors. Sometimes, yeah, they may well be. But the idea is I spend a week try to look for the best deals for every type of things that you may need as a law-abiding person, man or woman or between, that you need a weapon to defend yourself, your property, your home, and of course also your freedom. Now, today I want to do something a little different, or at least something that I think it's more and more important. I always believe that the role of the women is very vital in every society. Why? Because after all, think about it. Our men, they are being raised by our women, especially by the mothers. And sometimes if you have a dysfunctional society, I'm not going to try to say that it's fault of the mother, but yes, it's true. I mean, okay, I don't want to go there, but think about it. Look at the Muslim society. It's like a Middle Ages. Seriously, women are treated like garbage, okay? And yeah, it's true. If you're offended, I don't care. If you live in America, maybe you're a Muslim, maybe you're not a really good Muslim. But it's true. If you live in Saudi Arabia, you know, if you're a woman, you are less than a cow, or you treat her less than a camel. That's the truth. And what happened, unfortunately? They raise their children also according to this type of beliefs. Now, why is it so important to have women, mothers, who understand the importance of freedom and understand the importance of the Second Amendment? I really believe, by the way, if you're a Muslim, you're insulted, you're mad, I'm so sorry. I don't care. But the point is, this is exactly what we need. Mothers, especially in America, that educate their children with the importance and the respect of guns, ownership, of course, and also the Second Amendment. And I really believe we have that type of new culture, because the father, yes, is going to try to help the children in, teaching the everything. But also the mother is the one normally spend most of the time. So today I want to dedicate this hour about Second Amendment, practical tips and ideas, what type of guns to buy, what type of training, what type of situation, what type of mindset, okay? When it comes down to a lady, a woman, a mother that normally is not really familiar with the weapon. As I said, this is not about just preaching to the choirs. My job here is try to reach out people. They say, maybe I want to learn about that. Maybe I have questions. Maybe I'm not sure. And that's why we're here. We're not here to teach to anybody. I'm just a humble guy. But, you know, we share experience and we learn from each other. Now, very important, I have a guest. A lady that I've been a friend on Facebook for several years, I guess at least a couple of years almost. And she has also a radio show, and she has a very interesting background, because first of all, she lives in a state like Texas that is different from many other states, like for example, could be California or could be New York. I mean, it's more friendly to the Second Amendment than many other states. Maybe it's not as Arizona, but is really, really good, that's for sure. And also she has a radio show, and we will talk about guns. And you know what? She's a virgin. But not a virgin in the sense of sexual activities. No, she's a virgin when it comes down to gun. I think she's, I don't want to say the age, but, you know, she's a grown-up lady, and she never had a gun. So she's going to buy a gun, like probably this week. So I'm so honored that she's going to share her personal feelings about this coming experience with me. Kari, are you there?
I am.
So I hope,
thank you for having me.
I hope I didn't blow it about this virginity stuff, but
I loved the way you did it. It was great.
You mentioned it, so I'm here to your confidant, your friend, and we will talk about this important moment that you're going to have, you know, in the next few days. You and the first close encounter with this gun. Okay, so now when is going to happen this moment that you're going to buy your first gun?
Right now, I'm in the process of talking to a few different places that are going to allow me to document this experience, you know, both by video and audio for sure, and even having 2 or 3 different people with me, which is not your average situation. And a lot of gun salesmen, don't necessarily want that to happen. But there are a few out there who are very interested in promoting the sale of guns in terms of how it relates to our Second Amendment. And, and so that's another reason why I would choose those particular facilities. So my goal is going to be to go in and just go through the process like, everybody else. But there is one big difference between me and other women. Not all women, of course, but a lot. And that is that I do have a criminal background history. It's nothing violent. It's a long story for another day. But the bottom line is, it's going to change a little bit how that experience goes. Now, I'm allowed to acquire a gun in the state of Texas. It's just that for the first time in my life, I actually am going to do it. I'm older. My kids are grown, all of them, which was always a major concern and the reason why I never got a gun, as a younger woman. And I have always been a gun advocate immensely and very much for the Second Amendment. And I've really tried hard to educate myself as well as others about the Second Amendment, but I've never been in a position to get one. And, as I mentioned, when I was having my children kind of older and that was no longer a concern, at that point I wasn't eligible for about a 5-year period. So now, coming in the next week or so, as soon as I can confirm and arrange for this experience to be documented, I'm going to be out there doing this and really excited about sharing it with others to support our right to have and bear arms, but also to let people know, that it doesn't really matter what we have to go through to get our gun. It's worth it, and it's doable.
Yes, I mean, this is very interesting because I never had the experience to talk with somebody that, like you, and as I said before to you in private, we are not here to judge. We all human beings, we make mistakes. And I think really this is the place where we judge, especially myself. I'm a sinner myself. I never had the type of problems, but it doesn't matter. But honestly, what we can do, we can learn from each other, especially when, say,
Exactly.
let's try to avoid that probably. We can do better. Maybe there's a situation, for sure, as human beings, we can prevent. And at the end of the day, this is exactly the point. I think there is always hope for redeeming ourselves. There is always hope to be better. And
Exactly.
to learn from that. And I think every human being that after passes the stage of repenting and trying to find the way to get out of that past or whatever problem you had. I don't even want to know, honestly, this is not the point, but the fact that you were able to reinstate your Second Amendment right, that means also you fought for that, because it's not easy. Sometimes it's very simple, just let it go and whatever, but this is important. I think it's your right. And it's also very important to also show to the rest of the world that in America, we still have this right. Even sometimes we may make mistakes, and this right may be compromised for a while, maybe. Now, question
Exactly.
is, there is a lot of situation. I wanted to talk today. First of all, I want to give you the floor anytime you want to say something or ask me something. I don't consider myself an instructor or anything like that. But I have a show, and I've been breeding guns the last few years in a pretty professional way. At least I try to learn from many other people that they know more than I do. And I call myself a professional student in many things I do. So that's the idea. So anything
I love that.
Any questions you have, anything I can help you, even with my humble opinion, I'd be happy to help you out. And indirectly, of course, we can help our listeners. Today, the topic I would like to target is exactly, for example, self-defense for women, for ladies. And it doesn't just start with a gun. Think about it. The first weapon, it's your mindset, because you can have even just your nails. And I tell you, if your mindset is there, you somehow achieve the type of state of mind that you are not a victim and you will not surrender and you will not bend over, you're going to fight back even with with a pencil if you have to. Of course, a Glock would be better, or even a gun would be better. But
yeah, but you also have to be prepared.
Exactly.
As a woman who hasn't had that form of self-defense my whole life, and I'm not afraid to say how old I am. I'm in my 50s, and whether it's a mag light ready to go, or a mace, or even my keys in my hand, I've never just assumed my environment was safe. I've always been overly cautious about my surroundings. And I think that it's really important, especially as I'm going to be going and getting a gun. And as a new person to this and this skill, and even somewhat physically challenged, I got to make sure that I can handle this gun. And then I know what to do with it and not allow it to be taken from me and used against me.
Yes.
So I'm really concerned about all of these things, and I take it really seriously.
Listen, this is very important, because the first thing I think that we need to do in everything we do, I don't care if it's a gun or driving a car, admitting our limitations, because that's the most beautiful thing we can do to start the process and the journey to learn. Because unfortunately, there are many people out there that they think, okay, I know, I bought my gun, I got my box of 50 rounds here on the little stand close to the bed, I'm set, I'm ready to go. No, that's not even the beginning. Of course, it's the first step. You must have a gun, but more important, you must start with a mindset and training. If I could just somehow share the first weapon that we should achieve, we should, let's say, learn, it is awareness. Because think about it.
Yes.
If you are aware of a danger, you can avoid it. So that's the best, Sun Tzu. I remember when I studied this book, The Art of War, in the military academy in Italy, the best general is the one that doesn't even have to fight the war, because he can win before even the battle starts. And the idea is, of course, if you are aware of your enemy, you can avoid to meet the enemy in that spot. So the first thing we should all be aware, it's called awareness. And there are different, of course, schools and different type of writings about that. But one of the best, in my opinion, is late Colonel Jeff Cooper. Interesting book he wrote. And also one of the things he used to say, the color of awareness. The point is our mind has a different type of stages of level of awareness. If you go around, for example, the average person right now with a little cell phone or iPod or whatever it's called, they are normally in condition white. That means zombies. They walk around the parking lot, looking down at their cell phone, and they don't care about who's behind or who's waiting behind the corner.
Indeed.
Yeah, and even if you have a gun there, it's too late. Because
that's what I mean. You can't, whether you are experienced or a newbie like me, it doesn't do any good if you're not aware, one.
Exactly.
And if you don't know what to do, and this to me, Luke, is really, really important as well. And it's what I call being shovel ready. So if once you are aware, if you're not shovel ready, if you're not like ready to use that and keep it from being used against you, you're actually putting yourself into more danger. So here I am after all these years never owning a gun. I want to make sure that I do it right. And I have I've got this great big family that I've got to set an example for. And that's really important to me as well.
This is very important. I think for many other, it can be inspiring for many other women out there. They maybe has, for different reasons, the same situation. They never had a gun, and now they realize, you know what? After all, it's a tool. Like do you have a spare tire? Yes, I do. And that's the idea. If you have a spare tire, you need to think maybe you need a gun too.
Exactly. And I truly believe that. And with everything that's going on, just in everyday safety, and again, like I said, Texas is an open carry state now. So once I have gotten my gun and I have taken my lessons and practiced, which I fully intend to do, and I'm really comfortable with it, I'm going to be carrying it. But I will also have to be aware.
Yes.
and present.
Let me start to give a little, sometimes I try to be kind of not didactical, but like I do training. We do training over the radio. We do different things from rifle to shotgun.
So cool.
I mean, it's kind of weird, but the show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. The second hour, I go not just talking about the latest gun. No, we talk mostly about practical things. And I know for many people, maybe they're driving. This is not exactly something you should focus too much. Keep driving, but at least give you an idea, something that normally you should start to learn, and more important, things that make you think. Okay, because we try to give you this input. Then you can find hopefully professional training wherever you are in your state or your community. Now, first of all, as you said, we were talking about the first weapon should be awareness. We must develop this sort of condition, and the condition is called condition yellow. That means no white. White, you are completely like a zombie. You don't pay attention to anything. You walk with your eyes down. You don't look at your environment. You think everybody's nice. You live in fantasy land. You live in like in Disney World. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Evil, statistically, is proven. Every 100 people that you walk by, one is a potential very serious criminal. I'm not talking about somebody's going to steal your pocket. I'm talking somebody could harm you, rape you, or do something even worse, killing you. So that's the reality. So after you got the awareness, or more important, at the same time, being completely conscious that this reality that we are living in this world, evil exists. And it does not exist on TV. It can happen
and
tomorrow.
And it's not prejudice.
Exactly.
It goes after everything and everyone.
So, don't think, this doesn't happen to me or my daughter. No, it can happen to you and your family right now. So it's only a question of statistics. So that's the two most important weapons. You have the awareness to try to avoid to put yourself in the situation. And because that's normally what criminals do. They're predators. They're like wolves. And honestly, I don't even want to give them the compliments because wolves, they have much more class, in my opinion. But they are like a pack of coyotes, okay, and the gang normally against the weakest element of society. And if they see you that you are unaware, and you are completely giving all the symptoms that you are also weak, they come after you. If they see that you are aware, and you're not going to be an easy prey, and you're ready to fight back, say, wait a second, let's find somebody better, somebody that's a little easier to deal with. So number one, you got to have awareness. And number two, of course, you want to have the type of mindset that you admit evil exists. Number three, you are the weapon. The point is, if you have, as we were talking before, a mascara in your hand, or you have a purse, or if you have a Glock, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but the end is, no matter what you have, you will fight with, okay?
Correct.
Go ahead. Tell me what you think about this.
Well, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I can't stress enough. And one of the reasons why I held off getting a weapon, such as a gun, is because either I had young kids and was literally juggling my hands all the time. I could have never handled a gun at that moment. Later, I was physically unable, but the thing of it is knowledge is power. And one of the greatest kinds of knowledge, in my opinion, is knowing what we don't know. I mean, when we know what we don't know, we can fill in that gap with education, and education is everywhere. And it's free on the internet in amounts that we can't even measure. So I feel like you've got it exactly right. And I'll say one more thing too. I loved your concept right now, where you were saying, there's the white kind of mindset where you're not paying attention, you're distracted, whatever. Then there's your yellow, which for many is a very, like a instant mind connection to caution. And then there's the red, where maybe you've got people using weapons for the wrong reasons, in anger or in haste or without preparedness. So I really like that point that you made.
There is more.
With the state of mind.
There is more, of course, and I invite everybody to also go to handguntraining.tv. Send me the email from there. I have an ebook that is going to be ready probably in a couple weeks. and it's called Defensive Handgun. Okay, and I can send you the free chapter that I wrote about the different color of awareness. And of course,
I love that.
the color, the advances, there is not more than just one color, but the idea is to be always not paranoid but vigilant. Be ready to understand what's going on. For example, let's say we are walking on the street right now, me and you. If we were on white, we don't even pay attention to anything. We just look down, or we play our little video games, or maybe, I don't know, Pokemon, whatever garbage you're doing, and we keep going, and we go in our parking lot, and we don't even notice what's going around. And then somebody, boom, jumps you, and we are gone. If we're in yellow condition, we get out of the parking lot of the supermarket or whatever grocery store you go. Guess what? First of all, you don't look down. You look around. You look behind the corners. You try to stay avoiding the corners. You start to think, okay, there is that person down there that doesn't look that right. I don't want to be paranoid. Of course, I cannot start to point a gun at him, but guess what? I'm not even going to be maybe that close to him. That's the idea. We start to have preventive measurements, okay? Now, back to the idea also of what we can do when we have achieved that type of yellow color stage. We want to start to think, we need to think this way before, what if this happened? Because if you have a weapon, I don't care which weapon you have, a knife, a stick, a gun, it's not a normal thing. Okay, now
You're right.
I'm going to use it. It's something you must make up your mind. Whatever belief you have in your morals, religious, after all, you are trying to save your life. When people say, oh, guns kill. No, I look at guns save lives, because I went through the process, and I respect life, and I think life is precious. At the same time, I have the moral and human right to defend my life and to defend the life of innocence. Okay? That's the bottom line. So after you come to this philosophical conclusion, and you say, yes, I am ready, if I have to, in that situation, to do what I have to do to stop evil. In that case, even to kill the bastard. That's the bottom line. Technically,
Exactly.
we are not here to kill. We are here to stop a threat. Okay, whatever it takes to stop a threat. And I don't want to go now in legislation, because every state has a different laws. For example, the state of Texas has laws different from, let's say, what can be the state of Arizona or other states like California. But the idea is life is precious, and we use our weapon only when we are completely desperate and we have no other alternative but to try to stop that evil act. That's the idea. And of course, I invite everybody to study your own state laws, because Texas has also laws that you can protect with a deadly force, if I'm not wrong. Also property, okay? But that's different. Now, in general, we must do this sort of thinking, because then if you are in the moment of facing the threat and you have to squeeze the trigger, and you're still thinking, should I do it or not? It's too late. You already wasted a second. You gotta say, okay, the moment that person or that animal or that individual will do that, I will do this. And at that point, I made my decision. I have no regrets, because I already thought about this. So, and of course, we are human beings, and we're always gonna have some afterthought thinking. Not everybody, thank God, has to go through this experience. And we hope and pray that we'll never have to go through. But at least we have some sort of a pre-thinking. That's the idea. So at the end of the day, you are the weapon. That's what I say also in my little...
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I got my first gun lesson, and it was very informal, and it was actually by my dad. I was like, Dad, you taught me how to ride a bike. You taught me how to drive a car. I want you to be the one that gives me my first gun lesson. Mm-hmm. And he went and he got his gun, and he brought it to the table and took it out of the case, and I looked at it, and I saw that he had taken some of the bullets out. And I say some now, but in that moment, with my inexperience, I just assumed, which is a bad thing to do, that he took all the bullets out. Mm-hmm. And he handed me the gun, and it was super awkward for me. And then he said, stop. This is your first lesson. The first thing that you do is, when someone hands you a weapon, is you make sure that it's not loaded in terms of handling it or cleaning it or all these different things. And I mention that just because when I think of preparedness, these things are running through my mind, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that first time I picked it up, it was so awkward. The second time I picked it up, which was a year later, it wasn't as awkward. And I believe that, you know, getting a gun and having it registered and all whatever things that you've got to do for your local statutes and laws, once you've done that, you should be practicing, you should be preparing yourself so that in that moment it has to be something that you do automatically. But it has to be when you do something automatically, you know, you kind of think of maybe not present of mind. No, you have to learn how to be automatic with your reaction, in your awareness, and with your preparedness. You have to be present in your mind and prepared. And it has to happen automatically because, like you just said, it could happen in an instant. One split, like, what is it, Luca? Part of a second, then it would take a gun bullet to get from, you know, me to someone even just 10 or 20 feet away. And, you know, do you have a good enough shot as someone like me who's never really shot a gun that much? You know, can I even hit someone even that close? So I'm just saying,
let's look at reaction time.
So much into preparedness that I don't think people always consider. And even for people who have had guns and have used them, I think, don't you think it's important to stay prepared, to keep it fresh in your mind all the time? Of course,
as I was saying, the different components are, you know, if you want to split the different type of elements that we need to have. Awareness, once you create the awareness, you can also see the problem coming before it happens. So you need to have the little bit of a split second. For example, a professional, at least a professionally trained gun owner, you should be able to conceal a weapon. Normally, you know, we carry conceal. Even, of course, we have some states like open carry. But let's say we can, from a concealed position, we should be able to deliver and present the handgun in a gunfight and deliver at least 2 center mass shots, okay?
Yeah.
In less than 1.5 seconds. And that means the moment that you open your concealment, you present the gun into the fight, and you deliver 2 rounds in less than 1.5.
How long do you think that it would take an average person like me who doesn't have any experience to learn and become familiar enough with their firearm to deliver that necessary protection in that quick of a time?
Okay, first of all, with training, you know, the point is you need to have somebody that can give you because you can spend 10 years, okay, and doing mistakes. Unfortunately, you can learn wrongly. So you need to have at least find the way, the source that you can have some basic training. Once you have the right elements, okay, at that point, with training and dry practice. The dry practice means like your dad was doing. You don't even need to use the ammunition. You can start to learn a lot. At least 80% of your training, you can do it safely without ammunition or fake ammunition.
That makes so much sense. I didn't even think of that.
Yes, honestly, that's the best way you start to learn at the beginning, because when you shoot, it's going to be a recoil, and then the noise and all that drama that you normally hit. You know, it's not exactly normal every day to have a combustion, exploding cartridge, you know, close contact to us, you know. Rather, when we have that dry practice, you can focus on the movements, and there is not that bang, but you can see what you're doing wrong. You can see also what you're doing right. That's one of the best way you can learn the first stage and feel familiar with the weapon. So the point is, even let's say a decently trained gun owner, okay, they can deliver at least a couple rounds from conceal in less than 1.5 seconds. Still, if somebody jumping you at a close distance, honestly, you don't even have that 1.5 seconds. If somebody's shooting at you, you're going to be always half second too late. So awareness is the number one tool we want to develop. Stay in condition yellow. Number two, when the fight starts, this is not going to be like, oh, I'm going to shoot you in the leg. Oh, I'm going to just give you a warning shot. No, it's over. The discussion, the diplomacy, it's over. It's your life or his life. It's your daughter's life. There is no more, oh, I'm going to have a negotiation. Now, the point that the bastard, he wants to rape you or wants to kill you, for me, the diplomacy, it's over. Whatever you do, whatever you have to do, and you're going to become now from the prey, you will become the lion. You will become the beast. You're going to put out.
And if you're a woman, it could quite possibly be you and or even your children.
Exactly.
Which most I know when my children were young, they went everywhere with me.
Think about that. That's why I said visualization. You have to visualize that these people, they're not playing fair. Oh, by the way, okay, you won.
Yeah.
Let's go back home and let's share, cards, or I don't know, whatever. Let's have a beer. You won this time. No, let's play fair. By the way, don't shoot like that. This is war. They want to rape you. They want to kill you. They want what is yours. And they will use any dirty trick. And look how many dramas, how many situations that are so scary that people maybe may not even visualize till you really start to pay attention. I mean, there was this case of this doctor, I think it was in Massachusetts a few years ago. These two scumbags just get out of jail and they go into this home of this doctor and they get his wife and his daughter, they rape him, they do terrible torture on them. Meanwhile, they tied up the father, the doctor. He has to witness all this rape and torture, and then they pee on them, and then they burn them alive. Now, it may sound very brutal, but unfortunately, there are many cases like that. And this is the guy probably that doesn't need guns because the police is going to take care of you. And so maybe I don't want to judge because, I feel sorry about that. But, for sure, he didn't have a gun on him. Okay? The point is, you must think that things can happen. And when you have that type of mindset, at that point, these people, you have no more mercy. Once they start the evil action against you, and you decide that the line in the sand is be drawn and they cross it, you will not stop until the fight is over. Period. This is my humble little opinion, and also I stay behind this. Now, no matter which weapon you have, you must train. That's the final, the final component. But the first two components that we said, awareness and mindset, they are vital. Then at that point, training, it's vital. I don't care if you have a single shot from the 1700, black powder, or if you have, I don't know, a stick. Of course, a semi-automatic weapon would be much better. But whatever you have, you will train, and you will find the best training you can. That's the bottom line. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem, because you must achieve that type of muscle memory that you want to do things correctly, first of all, safely, because you don't want to be a liability to others. As a law-abiding person, gun owner, we are responsible for every round gets out of that barrel. So you can just say, okay, I got a gun, and hopefully I'm going to hit him. Yeah, right. If you miss it, who's going to get it? So you got to train. You got to be fast and accurate and safe. So that's the bottom line. Now, from there, we must start to say, since you have the time, and many of us in our society, we still have a chance to choose what type of gun we can buy. Thank God. It's not like pretty soon they try to make us buy just, the single shot according to Obama, Hillary Clinton, that we're supposed to have all bolt action rifles, or maybe not even that, probably slingshots. That would be our weapons of choice, according to many politicians. Instead, we can buy weapons that fits our body, fits our type of age, and our type of personality. So, for example, I don't know exactly what type of gun you are looking for, but I'm here. I'm curious to see what type of gun as your first handgun. What type of gun you think you will be comfortable with that?
Well, there are some criteria that I've really thought about. One thing that's really, really important to me is that it is lightweight, and then also that I can handle the recoil, because I have skeletal issues that are pretty severe, and I need a gun. I might be able to handle the significance of that on my body, say if I was in that position and I had to fire that 1 or 2 shots in defense. But in order to get to that point, I'm going to have to be able to practice, which means shooting it again and again and again, over the course of an hour, say. And it has to be something that, I have fibromyalgia. A lot of people out there have that. And when you do things like this, instead of it, being sore for an hour, the next day it can end up, being sore for weeks. And then I also have degenerative discs in my neck. So I have to be careful with that recoil. So I've got a lot of issues physically, and then so I feel like being lightweight, that will also help. And I want it to be small enough that I can carry it on my body, because I am in a state where it's an open carry. And so those are some of the things that I'm looking for in a gun. Okay,
I was thinking about that. You gave me the opportunity to to share a couple of good ideas, or at least input from my point of view. First of all, you say right. It's better to hit somebody with the 22 than miss him with the 44 Magnum. Okay, that's the bottom line. Because it is the number one thing. You must find something that it is makes sense to your body and also to your pocket. I'm telling you, sometimes we underestimate. You want to choose some calibers that the ammunition could be very expensive, and you could save 50% or more with other type of caliber that you could do exactly even a better job. So let me give you.
I haven't even thought about that. That just goes to show you how much starting out can really involve knowledge, but that's okay because I can fill those gaps in.
Yes, let me give you my 2 cents. The show is going to be kind of interesting because I'm trying to condense as much information as possible to you, and I hope to all the ladies out there that are buying the first gun. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. We look at Zanna, second hour guns. First of all, as you said, we need to find a gun that is allows you as a woman to fit your body, to fit also your health and your age. So let's say, for example, there are maybe, I don't know, an older lady that maybe she has problem with the hands, arthritis, and could be very difficult to even just squeeze the trigger. You need to find something, first of all, that you are able to squeeze and the trigger is good for you, okay? And more important, the recoil of the caliber is going to be something that doesn't give you fear, and you can handle it. With training, you could handle almost any gun, by the way.
This is another reason I haven't bought one yet.
Yeah.
It's because I've really had a hard time finding, there's so many opinions out there.
Let me tell you, first of all, people say, okay, the 22 is for sure the most light round, at least one of the lightest round, not exactly, let's say, optimal for self-defense. And I agree, 22, it is not exactly a round you would like to have as first choice for self-defense. But between a 22 and nothing, a 22 is a round that is so easy. First of all, there is almost no recoil, okay? And that means that you can completely aim and not even being stressed out and have great accurate shots. So 22 is something that for people, let's say older people out there, a 22 is something that it's a very affordable round, and it's very fast and very also good on noise. Think about it. You are in a house, okay? And maybe you are not trained to have close to your gun like normally I do. Also, first of all, the gun is always on me, no matter where I go. In the house, outside. But for many people, maybe the gun is somewhere in the kitchen or maybe, I don't know, could be in the bedroom. But the point is, you always must think if you shoot a gun in a closed environment, that's going to be devastating and very painful for your ears, unless you have a pair of protection of your. But under stress, if you don't have that, let's say that warning that something's coming, you might have to shoot a gun no matter what. A 22 for sure is much more forgiving on the noise on your ears. So even if you're outside or if you're indoor, even better, you're not going to have that problem. Number 2, you have no recoil at all, okay? And more important, it's a very fast round that, believe it or not, more people are dying, being killed by 22 than many other calibers out there. You may you may not die immediately, but it will get you down. And by the way, if you hear some background noise here, we have a big thunderstorm coming in, and I need to put a 1 second break, and I will bring you back. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, and don't forget, if you want to support the show, you have to listen to what I do here. This is not about just sharing sponsors. It's exactly sharing the products that I bring you with my love. Now, don't go away. Give me 5 seconds, and I'll be back. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna.
Don't tread on us.
Do you want social justice? Now I give you social justice.
The Zanna way.
Don't trade on us. The Freedom Rifle by Zanna. The most affordable military-grade semi-automatic AR-15 rifle in M4 configuration, chambered in 223 Wild that can shoot both 5.56 NATO and 223 Remington. 4 minutes of angle for just $499, made in the USA. Get your Freedom Rifle now. We need every law-abiding American armed with knowledge and at least one military rifle ready to defend good against evil. With every Don't Trade on Us rifle, you will get free parchment replica of the United States Constitution, free digital CD, Don't Trade on Us, free ebook, How to Become a Rifleman, free t-shirt, Slaves Are Never Armed, I Am Not a Slave, free 30 rounds magazine where allowed by the law, free laser engraved ejection port, Don't Trade on Us, for just $499. Go to www.freedomrifle.com, www.freedomrifle.com. Get your freedom rifle now. Okay, guys, that's a little bit of advertisement. I call it sponsor, but it is my sponsor. It's called the Freedom Rifle. Don't trade on us, the Freedom Rifle by Zanna, the most affordable AR-15 on the US market, with incredible series of bonuses for just $499. Yes, for less than the price of a gun, you can buy a made in the USA AR-15 that shoots 5.56 NATO and also 223 Remington. And it's incredible. You can see the videos and all the different type of shooting and the type of also what type of risk. I mean, this little rifle, we drove over on the lower with the 11,000 pounds Humvee. The lower is made of polymer. It's super strong. It's stronger than any type of aluminum blowers, and it did not even scratch. So go to www.freedomrifle.com until you can, because I tell you, I don't know how long we can hold with this price. For just $499, you can get the Don't Trade on Us, the Freedom Rifle by Zanna. Now, Kari, let's go back with you.
You got it.
We were talking about the different calibers. So I said the first thing, don't underestimate the 22. Probably it's not your case, but sometimes for older person out there, you know what? 22 can be still a very effective weapon, especially if you train to shoot at the right spot, okay? Number very important. The first distinction would be, should I go with the revolver or should I go with the semi-automatic? Many people say, the revolver it's easier or whatever, you don't need to have magazines. Yes or no? The revolvers, you have also some limitations. You have also rounds that are limited. Normally a revolver for self-defense, they are between 5 or 6 rounds, okay? A semi-automatic, like for example a Glock, let's say a medium size, like a Glock 19, you have 15 rounds just with one magazine.
Right.
Okay, so that's right there. It's a big change. Also, important thing, the Glock, the revolver, your safety, it is your finger. There is not really an external safety. And many semi-automatic, yes, I have a little bit of extra training to work with safety. But if you work with a Glock, the same situation like the revolver, you don't have an external safety but your finger. So right there, I think it's a great compromise, and I'm not trying to pitch it because I own Glocks and I carry Glocks, but I think it's really a great, simple but effective gun that also is great for the budget, and it's very much a Spartan gun. It's not something I need to think, oh my gosh, my $1,000 or $1,100 SIG just fell and scratched. No, the Glock, you don't care. You don't have that problem. And it's an effective gun. So that's the point. So if I were a person to suggest to a friend revolver or semi-auto, I would say Glock. That's my opinion. Or a gun like the Glock. Whatever gun fits the type the Glock.
That's a great confirmation, because that's actually what my daddy recommends. And it's what my neighbor, who is an Austin County sheriff.
Wow, that's good.
I'm sorry, Travis County sheriff, and he will be joining me this coming Tuesday on the show that I'm going to be doing about the Second Amendment. And I've just been really trying to, Luca, just get as much. I believe wise men seek counsel from many, and it doesn't mean that you listen to every single thing that you say and then just do it. It means that you take in as much information from as many people as you can, and then put together what makes sense for you. And it's a real confirmation that you're, suggesting a Glock for me, someone like me, because, and for the reasons that you've been talking about, the 15 rounds, the easier
and somebody
use of firing.
Cariana, if somebody has another gun, let's say similar to that concept, that's fine. I mean, they're also Smith & Wesson, they do similar guns, that's fine. I like Glocks for many reasons. One of the reasons is it's common. You can find Glocks everywhere. That means you can find spare parts and magazines and everything you need everywhere. Okay, and I know very well also it's affordable. And magazines are affordable. You need to consider all these little things. For example,
Exactly.
I can buy aftermarket magazine for my Glock, great for training, for about $10, $11. Normally, and you can get the original Glock magazine for any Glock for about $22, $23. Very affordable for quality stuff. And you can also have aftermarket parts, and whatever happens, even in the scenario of I don't know, emergency, whatever, almost 80% of law enforcement in America has Glocks. So you can always train with something that also our law enforcement train, and we can also trade and change parts. That's very important. Now, another important thing, calibers. Once you come down with a type of idea, you want a revolver or you want a semi-automatic. Semi-automatic, as I said, takes a little more training, but not that much. Because the idea is you have a lot of benefits, that I told you. And it's not just about the fact that you have more rounds, but also the fact you can shoot faster, and I believe also you can shoot more accurate. That's very important. Now, caliber. With the Glock, you have a choice. You can go from almost any caliber, from the 380 ACP to, of course, you can get a 45, and you can go to 10 millimeters. My favorite caliber, that is not just my personal opinion, but also is the FBI latest studies. It is now back to the 9 millimeters. Many ladies...
I love this. This is what my son and my husband and I, just like about, 2 weeks ago, spent a whole evening just talking about it and looking. My son is going to be 18 in a couple of months. And it's so amazing to be going through this with him. And he was like, Mom, I think that you need to get... So this is so great. A Glock 9 millimeter that's a 6-inch. I don't know if they come in more than one length, but he was like 6-inch will be lighter for you and easier to handle. But I mean, he's never even had a gun. But it's interesting that we're doing good in terms of on our own trying to educate, and then I'm reaching out and I'm getting educated by you right now, and I'm hoping that this conversation can turn into millions of conversations for people out there, whether you're a woman, whether you're elderly, or you're a young person who's never had a gun. These are it's really, really important, and I think that it can be very scary and awkward and all these different things, but really it's just a matter of being of not knowing.
Listen, there are pretty much, that's why I said this is important. It's something that we can help each other in this way, because it's so sad when I see sometimes people that have no experience and maybe don't have a friend or somebody who try to help them out. They go to the wrong gun shop and they just try to unload them the gun that nobody wants, or just the most expensive piece of crap they have. The gun is like a glove, okay? Everybody has a different hand. And everybody's a different need. So I think, it's important. But the beautiful thing I like about Glocks, they have the same principles. You can train with any Glock, any caliber, doesn't matter. They all work the same. But the beautiful thing, they have also different sizes. For example, if you are a guy, like say, with a big hand, I would suggest you a Glock 17. People say, it's too big to conceal. I carry my Glock 17 under a shirt pretty much since the last 10 years. I don't remember a day I did not carry my gun. In and outside the house. Seriously, every freaking day, Christmas included, and all the holidays. And especially in the house. People say, the gun, when I'm in the house, that's the safest place I have my gun. So Glock 17 can be easily concealed if you have the right type of environment. I mean, the jacket or whatever, even shirt. But for a woman, I would suggest the second size smaller. It's called the Glock 19. And I talked about that last week on the show. It's the same type of gun, exactly looks the same, it's just a little smaller, and is exactly 7.36 inches. Now, I would suggest to go to a gun shop and can I try the Glock 17 in your hand and try the Glock 19? Then, of course, there are different smaller sizes in the Glock, and you can go from the Glock 19, you will go to the Glock 26. In my opinion, even it's very nice and cute to put probably in a purse, I wouldn't suggest you. It's way too small, and you start to have that for me as a backup gun.
And then how hard is it going to be to get that dang thing out of your purse and use it in that 1.5 or less seconds that you need to? That just doesn't, that's not. No. And by the way, y'all, I am taking notes. And I suggest if you're listening, I really want to encourage you to take notes as well. And even if you're not a woman, if you're a man, maybe you haven't necessarily considered getting a gun for your daughter or for your wife. So I think that these points that you're teaching me right now, Luca, are really, really important to share. So I'm taking notes.
Very good. And by the way, I will send you a preview copy of my ebook, Handgun Training for Self-Defense, by the humble professional student that I am. Okay, and you can take a look. I appreciate that you can give me your feedback. Now, as I said, talking about how we carry the gun. Okay, so whatever gun you pick, you choose it, you try first. And as I said, we talk already enough, semi-automatic, revolver, different type of semi-automatic. I like the Glock for the reasons I told you, but that's okay. Calibers, there are different calibers from 9, 40, 45. My opinion, the 9 is the most effective right now because, first of all, the new technology, 9 millimeters in hollow point, you have incredible rounds with incredible performance, with very little recoil, very high speed. They can pretty much perform like a 45. And the beautiful thing is less recoil, and also 40% or more of cost ammo you're going to save. For example, I can get you online, and I share this information with my listeners as an act of love. This is not even my sponsor. A place right now, SGMO, S as Sam, G as Golf, AMMO.com. You can get 9 millimeters for training, steel case, they work perfectly. The brand is called Brown, for about $8 a box of 50 rounds. $8 for 50 rounds.
Wow.
Okay, no sale tax if you don't live in their state, and shipping is very reasonable. So you can get that type of ammo, and if you want to train with 45, you're going to pay at least $16 for 50 rounds. So think about it right there. Now, recoil. Let's say you have a family. There is mom, dad, maybe a couple of children, or at least the young people in the house. Everybody can shoot 9. You're not going to get confused with calibers. You can exchange magazine. If everybody has a Glock, no matter which Glock, you can put always a bigger magazine like the Glock 17 in any of the smaller Glocks that you have around the house. That's beautiful. Keep your ammo standard, you buy bulk, and then you get the good stuff from training to self-defense. You can choose the best rounds out there. I mean, last time I was talking about, for example, 9 millimeters. The brand is called Liberty Ammunition, Civil Defense. They are pricey. It's $1 a round. Okay, 9 millimeter plus, I mean, this is like 2,000 feet per second. They go through body armor. Okay, this little round, no recoil, it's like almost like a rifle out of your Glock. It can knock down the most monsters out there you can imagine, even with the body armor. So you can train with cheap ammo and carry the good stuff for a very affordable price still. So that would be why I think we should look into that world of the semi-automatic 9 millimeters. And then how to carry the gun. Time is going so fast. How to carry the gun
makes sense, though. It really, really does. And I'm just really grateful that you're putting this information out there.
Thank you for giving me also the trust and also the opportunity to share this also with other listeners, because I'm sure other people would like to probably know this information. So another important thing, for example, ladies, they like many times to carry the gun in the purse. Fine. If that's the only option you have, fine. Better than leaving at the house. But seriously, you realize that, first of all, you probably sometimes you don't carry always your purse on you. Maybe you need to let the purse somewhere. Maybe you may forget the purse. Maybe they may steal that purse. And more important, you will try at the range, how fast can you really deliver? And you need a dedicated purse, by the way. You don't need a messy purse that you put everything together. That must be in a dedicated compartment, and then you probably must have a special purse for your gun. So the point is, in reality is, the faster and the safest place to keep your gun, it is on you. And the faster and the most, let's say, safest place also is to have it on 3 o'clock on your belt. Okay, that's the idea. Because from there, you can still conceal it, but you're going to have the faster and safest way. Many people say, I like to put it, for example, behind my shirt and the back. Very dangerous. It takes more time. Or you like to do a cross draw. Very dangerous. You're going to probably, muzzle at least a good part of your, let's say, 180 degrees of your side when you present that gun. And it still takes more time. So the safest and faster place, it is on 3 o'clock on your belt. But you need to have a very good belt. And more important, once you got that gun, once you got your mindset, once you got your training going, you will start to realize that. Don't go in the mistake. They say, okay, today I don't need a gun. Let me just go to buy my cigarette or whatever. I don't need it. Leave it at home. If you have the gun, like when you have your spare tire on your car, always carry with you. And don't think today I don't need it, because that's probably the day you may need it. So that's the problem I see many times with many people out there. That they think, okay, I got my gun. I leave it at home today. Very sad. And then what you feel if something is going to happen. Now, important thing, if you carry a gun, carry ammunition. Not just because...
Well, you know, they say that most car accidents happen within like a mile of your home. You know, and people will be like, oh, I'm just going to run around the corner to the mailbox and
yes.
not, I don't need my seatbelt. And, again, it's in those moments when you don't have the protection that you need, that you're going to have that moment you need it.
Exactly. And exactly also with ammunition. I heard many stories, not because I've seen it, but I read in the news and reading also the history of gunfighting. Many gun owners, they go out with a little revolver and 5 rounds, or maybe with their semi-automatic and 1 magazine in their gun. No other extra ammo. What if that day, instead of having the regular scumbag going on his own, maybe you have a pack of coyotes after you, and you have to face them till help comes. You pray you had the extra magazine. So always train whatever. Normally, what do? The cops? They have 1 gun with at least 1 magazine inside, of course, and they have at least 2 extra magazine standard as backup. And if you can, carry an extra box of ammo in your car, just in case you live in rural America and maybe your help is on the way. You better have extra ammo. That's the bottom line. So don't underestimate the fact that you need extra ammo. You know what, Kari? We need to do it again, because we have an hour. I even didn't touch the surface of the things I was going to tell you. But I give you the floor. Give us the website, please, where people can reach you and listen to your show. Go ahead. You have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. It's truthfindersnetwork.com. And the show is called The Hot Zone. This coming up Tuesday at 8 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking about what is up with our Second Amendment. There's so much to go over, so many positions, and a lot to talk about. So don't miss it. I'll be in the chat room on truthfindersnetwork.com, and I hope to see you there. Check us out on Facebook and share the word. Thank you so much for having me, Luca. I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And don't go away, guys, because you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Final hour. It's going to be about love. In this world where everything seems to be going sideways, when you need things set straight, Zanna Coffee Straight Shot Espresso. Start your day with a bang. The best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade, certified, sustainable, organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com www.zannacoffee.com. Don't be cheap, you deserve the best. Get Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com.